I'm Officer Roy Paz with the Tampa Police Department, and it's time for On the Road with Roy. Let's go! Hello, Tampa Bay, and welcome to another episode of On the Road with Roy. That's me. Hey, guys, we're at the McDonald's owned by Casper's Company at 1520 West Kennedy Boulevard. That's not too far from downtown. If you look at downtown, you just go west. Here we are. We're at the McDonald's. And, guys, we always like to give a big shout-out to Casper's Company. Casper's, thank you so much for allowing us to be here and use your McDonald's and everything. This is such a great venue, and we love it, okay? But, guys, we got a real treat for you today. We got a lot of good information. As you know, we highlight different parts of the police department each episode. So we have the forensics unit here with us today, and with us we have the manager over the forensics unit. This is Susan Delage. Dun, 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 dun. Susan, welcome to On the Road with Roy. We're really excited to have you here.
Thanks, Roy.
And Susan, you are the manager for the forensics unit.
Yes.
And but before we get into all that, I want to know about you, if that's okay. We want to ask you a few questions about you. Now, Delage, I know that's your married name. What's your maiden name?
Barber.
Barber. Okay, I like that. Now, Susan, where is your family from? I know you're here in the United States and stuff, but you know, we're a big melting pot and stuff. So where does Barber come from?
Well, my father was born in England, and my mother's family was born in Germany. So it kind of makes me a Heinz 57, kind of a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Okay, well that's good stuff. Okay, have you ever been over to England or Germany to visit to see kind of your roots there or anything like that?
No, it's a bucket list item, but one day hopefully, but no, not yet.
Okay, all right. And Susan, how long have you been with the police department?
Almost 33 years.
Oh my gosh.
A long time.
That's a long time. That's great. That's great. Now, have you always been in the forensics unit, or have you done other things at the police department?
No, I started in the beginning of 1989 in what was then called the identification section, which is now the forensic unit. So I've been in that unit my entire almost 33-year career.
And you guys have always done forensics though, right?
Correct. It's just technology has changed and evolved, and so it's now widely known across the country as the forensics because of what we do.
That's funny, from identification to forensics. Forensics is a science.
Yes, it
is.
You
know, and now you got to really, there's a lot involved with what you guys do and everything. When you came to the forensics unit, how many years ago?
Almost 33.
33 years ago, did you have to have a lot of schooling? How did you end up coming to the forensics unit? What made you interested in that?
Well, I had good friends who were police officers back then, and one very special man helped to get me an interview for at the time, crime scene technician trainee. There were no schools back in the late 80s for specifically crime scene or forensics. There was the criminal justice, which I did go to Hillsborough Community College, and I got my associate's degree in just criminal justice. I really wasn't sure what avenue I wanted to take, whether or not I wanted to do police work. But like I said, a dear friend of mine kind of steered me toward the path of forensics, and I'm glad he did.
Yeah. Wow, that is something else. But, you know, I can only imagine if you didn't know did you really know what you were getting yourself into when you got in?
Absolutely not.
Not. And what I mean by that, guys, is, you know, now a lot of people, they specialize in this. They go to school and all that stuff, and obviously you have all that stuff now, and you've been here. You could probably teach forensics with all the years and experience that you have and things like
Which
that.
I do.
Yeah.
I teach at the college.
But now, a lot of folks coming into the forensics unit would have a lot of education in this field. But someone that has no idea about forensics coming to this, you guys actually see the probably the worst of the worst, right?
Yes, we do.
So I know as a police officer, you know, I may go to a bad scene once in a blue moon. You know, there's something that's really bad and such. Well, believe it or not, now in the traffic unit, we work a lot with traffic homicide. And since I've been on the traffic unit, I've seen more fatalities than I care to see, you know, because we help out traffic homicide. But I don't see them all, but the forensics unit sees them all, because you guys come out and you photograph, you collect evidence, you do all those things, and you see the worst of the worst, right?
Yes, we do. We go out to primarily every death scene. if we have a homicide, a traffic homicide, child abuse. So we do see the worst of the worst. And like you said earlier, as a police officer, you may only see a few homicides in your career,
right. but
our crime scene technicians will see every homicide as they need to go and photograph, collect evidence, process the evidence.
Yeah, you know, I see them out there at the homicide, you know, at the scenes, the traffic homicide scenes. I had a corporal, it was Corporal Wolf, and a long time ago when I first came on, and Corporal Wolf gave me some advice. He said, you know, when you're at a homicide scene and you're poking around on the body with your pencil or pen and everything, you never go and put it in your mouth.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good, Roy.
Oh, yeah.
That wouldn't be good.
Anyway, yeah. I just had to pass that on to everybody. So if you're ever poking around, don't put that in your mouth.
Don't put your pen in your mouth.
So, you know, Susan, that's interesting. Yeah, you guys see it all, but you know, the forensics unit does a lot of different stuff. They just don't investigate homicides and fatalities and things. You guys do a lot of different stuff. Can you tell us a few things that the forensic unit does?
Well, primarily we go out, we're a support agent or a support unit, and we support law enforcement.
Now, are you all police?
No, we are not sworn officers. We are a civilian unit, and that just means that we don't carry a gun, but we are a support unit to help drive the crime rate down. So what we do is go out to any scene, whether it be an auto burglary or a stolen vehicle or a burglary of a residence or a commercial burglary.
Yeah.
So there are the crimes against property that we do as well as the crimes against persons. So we do the homicides and the child abuse, and sometimes we just do overdoses, suicides,
you
unfortunately.
You guys are caught out to almost everything, because I know a long time ago, the police officers, we used to take our own fingerprints and stuff, but we don't do that anymore.
Not as much. We try to do as much as we can with our unit. We only have 18 crime scene technicians to almost 1,000 officers. So sometimes there will be times when the officers may have to dust a stolen vehicle or an auto burglary just because the demand is so high for crimes against persons that we may not be available for the crimes against property calls.
Right. But you guys are so specialized. Now, you all do photographs too. You all take care of like all the identifications at the city for the city workers. If people need to get fingerprints, you know, a lot of citizens have to get fingerprinted. If you're working the insurance company, if you work for, you know, the casino or whatever, you got to get fingerprints for that kind of stuff. They got to come down and see you, right?
Right. Well, our unit not only goes out to calls, but we have specialized personnel inside the unit. The crime scene technicians obviously are responsible for going out to the scene and processing and collecting, but I have a latent print unit, and those 5 specialized people actually take the fingerprints that are lifted off the crime scene, and they are comparing them to the suspects thought to have maybe perpetrated the crime. And I would say a lot of crime gets solved by our unit because of that fact, and they testify in court all the time. So I always tell my prospective employees and students that you will be in court a lot of your time talking about what you did on the scene and or if you compared and made the suspect through an identification.
Right. You know, you guys are really behind the scenes of a lot of this stuff, and I think it is so cool. Can you imagine? Here's a bad guy. He's committed a crime, whether it's a burglary or even a homicide, and he's got away with it at that time. He takes off and he's like, you know, and he runs off and everything, and he thinks everything's fine. But you guys gather that evidence, take it back, and your fingerprint, from your crime scene techs to gathered evidence to your fingerprint technicians and stuff, they are able to track and find out who that person is. And then that person later gets arrested. That is just so cool, because they thought they got, you know, it could be 20 years later, and because of DNA and everything, you guys are able to take care of some of this stuff. You know, that is just awesome. Quick story, I had a guy that I pulled over. I gave him a ticket. He testified in court. A guy showed up, said it wasn't him, and I gave the ticket because we got his fingerprint on the back of the citation. I gave it to the crime scene unit. They were able to tell me, yeah, that wasn't him. This is the guy that you pulled over, and I was able to charge that guy later. I mean, it was just neat stuff, you know, and there's so much to it. There's just so much to it. And now you've got all those different areas under you. You manage the whole entire...
There's 30 of us in the forensic
30
unit.
folks. And that's a full-time operation? I
yes,
mean, you guys
24/7.
24/7.
We work every shift, day shift, evening shift, midnight shift. They're constantly out there.
Right. Now, is it like CSI on TV where you have all the fancy SUVs and everything?
It's funny that you asked that. I get asked that question a lot. Is it like CSI? Yes and no. What you see on TV does happen. It's the time element that's different. Of course, on TV, you see it in 45 minutes. But in real life, we are doing those things, but it takes a lot longer to get your results back.
Yeah.
You don't get to see the name and the address flash up on a computer screen 5 minutes after. So there is a little bit of a time element difference. And unfortunately, the CSI effect, as we call it, a lot of times, you know, your jurors expect to see physical evidence, and without physical evidence, sometimes they're reluctant to have a guilty verdict. And unfortunately, we don't get evidence at every single scene. We hope to, but there's many times where we don't.
Well,
so,
you guys get attacked in court too, right? I mean, you just think of the OJ trial. The big thing of the defense was to attack the forensics evidence. And remember, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Correct.
And all that stuff. So that is a big defense, is to attack the evidence. And you guys have really have to have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted and everything else to get through all that, and you have to actually give testimony too, right?
Correct. So you have to be very careful with your evidence handling, making sure your chain of custody is protected, which basically is that unbroken written documentation of everything that's been done to that piece of evidence. So therefore, when it gets into court, it's secure, and just to make sure that you do everything properly at the crime scene, because they will attack the evidence, because that's what's going to put their client in jail.
And you all have some fancy equipment too. I like my favorite equipment that they have. You know, they use super glue to raise fingerprints. Super glue. That's pretty cool.
Yes,
you know,
it
and
is.
You wouldn't think about it, but super glue and just regular fish tanks that you put the vapors in and stuff. It's really interesting, guys. But you all have some really fancy equipment too, with dark lights and chemicals, and it's really a science.
It is a science. It is, and as technology progresses, the science gets even better and stronger. So there are many times where we take the evidence back and we'll process it in the lab, like you said, with either the alternate light source, which is a light source that allows us to go into different wavelengths of light, by using chemicals, fluorescent powders. So we do that a lot on your homicides, sexual batteries, where we'll use those certain chemicals and that alternate light source to bring up latent prints.
Right. That's just amazing. Just amazing.
It is an amazing field.
Yeah. And, you know, and all your folks have to be qualified in that and everything else. I think that the fingerprint folks are really interesting too, just to identify different marks and all the different things that go along with that. That is something. You've done it all.
I have. I started as a trainee,
right.
Which is a position we used to have, which we no longer have, because they come out with schooling now. And back, 30 years ago, there were no schools. So I started as a trainee and then worked my way up to a technician 1 and then a technician 2, which is the senior technician. And then after 15 years, I went into the latent unit, where I became a latent print examiner, and I was certified by the IAI. And then 5 years ago, I was promoted to the manager.
That's awesome. Yeah, let me ask you this, Susan. You've been on a long time and you've seen it all. Does anything still gross you out? I mean, me, I've been on a long time too, and I'll go to a traffic homicide scene and I'm always grossed out. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is horrible.
Well,
does that still get to you? Because you guys, like I said, you see the worst.
Well, I mean, no one's ever really prepared to see a dead body, and obviously every scene is going to be hard in its own way. I would say the thing that really bothers me the most is the crimes against children.
Yeah.
Those are hard to handle.
You guys got to handle all that too.
Yes, because you don't know what kind of scene you're going to come upon. But anytime you're involved with death or children, it's going to be hard. So it does take a very special indivial to be able to do this job. Not everyone
really
can
does.
do this.
And what the individuals that you have working for you, I kind of know this. What is the special time of year that you all have there in the forensics unit?
I think they love Halloween.
They do.
I don't know why, but my crime scene technicians love Halloween.
They do.
I guess maybe after dealing with all the
stuff
gory
all the
stuff
time,
all year, they love Halloween.
Yeah, they really do. That is something else in that. Let me ask you this. You guys should be celebrated all the time, okay? Because you really do. I think it's something that people don't think about a lot unless they watch TV and stuff, but you guys are really the driving force behind a lot of latent investigations on catching the bad guy and stuff like that. There is a certain time coming up, the National Forensics Week.
Yes.
Science Week that's coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, National Forensic Science Week was something that was developed many years ago in order to bring an awareness to what forensics does for the police field. It's a week that I like to celebrate my employees, and it's a week that the department takes to thank them for the job that they do every single day. You know, you're right. They are the unsung heroes. They don't get enough recognition for what they do because, like you said, we do solve a lot of crime. A lot of work goes into what they do, and I think it's just a special week. And like you said, it's next week. It starts on September 19th and goes to the 25th. And it's just a way to bring awareness to what forensic science is and how it helps to solve crime.
Yeah, and you know, you all just don't solve crimes, but the things that you see and the things that you process and the things you have to do, again, you have to be a really special person to do that. Susan, you know, there's a lot of folks going to be watching this and going, you know, I might want to do something like that. What did you have anything to offer to the audience if they wanted to get into forensics or even at TPD forensics? What would someone have to do to head this way, in this direction with a career?
Well, I would implore them to look into the best schools that will give them a forensic background. A lot of students look for, you know, the criminal justice degrees, but you really need to find those specialty classes that will actually specialize in forensics. Whether you decide to go into the field or whether you decide you want to work for the Florida Department of Law Enforcement in the lab.
Because they have a big lab, right?
Yes, and they can do DNA, they can do shoe and tire, they can do ballistics. So there's a lot that are behind the scenes even at the lab. But if you're really wanting to be in a crime scene aspect, then you need to look for those specialized schools that will actually teach you about crime scene investigation.
Right. Do you guys do a lot of on-the-job training too once they get, if a student, they come in with all these qualifications and stuff, do you still find that once they get into the field, there's still a lot to know?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously, schooling is going to teach you the basics, but we have like a field training program, just like the officers do. And they're usually with their field trainer for about 4 to 6 months, and they're going with them on the calls, and they're learning the TPD way of things. So like I said, they're kind of expounding a little bit on what they learned in school. Yeah,
that is good stuff. Good stuff. And I'm glad that you all have a week. It's in September. It's September that recognizes what you all do and everything. I tell you, we recognize what you all do, the police officers do, and we're so grateful for you guys and what you do. And the detectives, oh my goodness, the detectives absolutely love you guys, okay? Because you guys are the ones that help them solve cases and stuff like that. Susan, I got a little role play here, okay? We always like to do this and during our segments and stuff. And, you know, and I think it's important, guys, if you're out there and you're watching this and you thought about a avenue in forensics, let me tell you, it's a really neat profession. Again, got to be a special person, but there's a lot of special people out there, and this is a great profession. And these are civilians that work for the police department, and they do a fantastic job. Okay, so I'm going to act like I'm the interviewer. I'm you, and I'm interviewing you coming in as a new job here at the Tampa Police Department in our forensics unit. Okay. So I got some questions for you. This is good stuff. All right. So I got to get in my interview mood. You ready for this?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay, the police department has found a decomposed body. It's just bones now in a field. What is the most reliable identifier when it comes to identifying a person? I'm going to give you some options here. Is it A, hair, B, teeth, C, bones, or D, nails? It's just bones there. What could you guys do to identify this?
You can actually do a lot with all of those, but I would say your most would be with odontology, and that's with the teeth.
Oh, that you got it! Bing, bing. I had no idea what odontology was.
An odontologist, yes, we have odontologists actually that work very hand in hand with our medical examiner's office, and with Dr. Erin Kimmerly out at USF, the anthropology professor. And we do a lot with bones because unfortunately we do find a lot of scenes where there might be buried bones.
Well, that one went way over my head. I do know the teeth. I know the word teeth, but the other one, right over my head. Okay, but you got it. Good job.
All right.
All right, got it. All right, here's the next one. You ready for this? Hair at a crime scene is very important, okay, because you drop hair all over the place. You know, when you're committing crimes, you don't know it, but you're dropping hair all over the place. Good stuff, okay? But what is the only part of the hair that contains a person's DNA? Is it A, the hair coloring, B, the length of the hair, or, you know, kind of the DNA, and you can determine the sex of the person and stuff like that, the length of the hair, C, the root of the hair, or D, a basketball?
Wow, that's a tough one. Basketball? I would say it's probably the root.
Yep, you got it. That's another good one, okay?
All right.
It's the root of the hair.
I'm 2
Isn't
for
that
2.
something? You know, I thought, I never knew this, I thought just if you got a blade of hair, you could be able to tell a lot about it, but the root is really what gives you the DNA of the hair. So, so anyway, good stuff. All right, another one. This is good. It gets better and better.
Uh-oh.
Okay, testing takes a long time, a lot longer, or testing, you know, you see things on TV and they do something and they send the stuff off to the lab and they get it right away. So testing takes a lot longer than what's portrayed on TV, okay? So the reality of getting the results back when you send it off to the lab, is it A, hours, B, days, C, weeks, D, months, they even got an E, llamas.
Llamas. Wow, that's an interesting one.
Yes.
Well, we'd like it to be days.
That's D.
But I would say the most probable answer is going to be weeks. Usually
That's
we
right.
get
Yeah,
it in weeks.
it takes several weeks.
Yes.
Good job. You did another one. You're right on the money.
I'm
You're
3 for
right
3.
on line to getting a job here at the Tampa Police Department in the forensics unit.
Thank you.
Okay. I got 2 more questions.
Exciting.
Hang in there with me. This is good
All
stuff.
right,
Okay.
all right.
All right. What natural element? See if you can answer this. What natural element can help solve a crime? Is it A, the sun, B, bugs, C, plants, or D, a ham sandwich?
Well, ham sandwich sounds good, but I'm going to go with bugs.
Yeah,
because
bugs,
bugs
that's
are
it.
going to tell you the life cycle, and they're going to kind of estimate the time of death. So
Yeah.
bugs are probably going to be your most helpful.
That's good stuff. Isn't that something? Would you ever think a bug, you know, could help them? But they collect all kinds of stuff, but bugs is one of them. You know, one of the things, off subject here, I never knew when, you know, in the academy they taught us this and stuff, but when you collect like bloody clothes, you put them in a paper bag.
Why do you put them in a paper bag?
Well, they say, oh, you tell me that one. Why do you put them in a paper bag?
Well, because paper breathes,
Yeah.
and blood is wet, and if you put it in a sealed plastic bag, what's going to happen? It's going to mold.
Right, see, they would have told me that, I would have put stuff right in a Ziploc baggie.
And unfortunately,
molded.
FDLE, which is our state lab,
Yeah.
would not be happy if we sent them moldy, bloody evidence because
Yeah.
they wouldn't be able to do anything
And you
with
guys
it.
got all that equipment with dryers and things like that.
Yes, we do.
Unbelievable. Anyway, off subject. Let's get back to the interview. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. This is an open-ended question, okay?
Okay.
And this is the bonus round, okay?
Ooh.
Open-ended question. There's no A, B, or C. Just got to have the answer.
Okay.
Okay. What is Will Smith's favorite type of forensic evidence? What is Will Smith, you know Will Smith, favorite type of forensic evidence?
You've stumped me on that one, Roy. I don't know.
It's fresh prints. Get it? Fresh prints?
That was a good one, Roy.
Anyway, that's a good one. Anyway, well, Susan, this is awesome, okay? We really appreciate you coming in and talking to us about all this and showcasing the forensics unit. Guys, I hope this helps shed some light on what the forensic unit does. And all the things that they do. I feel like we really haven't touched everything that you guys have done. Is there anything that you wanted to add or anything like that? Did you think that we forgot to ask you? Because I tell you, all the people that work for you are absolutely fantastic, and what they do is I don't ever want them to think that it goes unnoticed or unappreciated, because they are just absolutely fantastic. They really are.
I have to agree with you. They are a great group of people that I get to work with every day, and I'm proud to say that I'm part of this unit because we do a lot of good stuff.
And they're hard workers, there ain't no doubt about that.
Very hard, and
workers.
recently very hard because we've been very, very busy.
Yeah. Well, Susan, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you
Roy.
so much. And guys, again, I hope you tune in next time. And as they always say on the forensics unit, we'll see you next time.
I don't think we say that, Roy.